we want to let you in on a secret. You can innovate. A gym teacher needed a sport to play indoors during winter months. A blind teenager needed a system for reading. A student kept forgetting his flash drive. Notice a pattern? Innovation often starts with real people solving their own problems, innovating for their own use. This is User Innovation. Believe it or not, it's all around you. Sports, medicine, software, food, you name it. But how do you become a user innovator? How do you get your idea out into the world? To answer these questions, we'll take a look at real-world examples. Interview people like you who solve their own problems. And meet MIT professor Eric von Hippel, who pioneered the study of user innovation. My name is Hardeen, and I invite you on a journey to explore the phenomenon of user innovation. This journey starts here.
I'm fine.
For those like me trying skateboarding for the first time, this can represent pain. But forget the pain and you realize that this is a meeting point. A meeting point of our human desire to try new things, have fun, and share it with others. This is a great metaphor for innovation.
I'll get it back to you, all right?
Wow, look at him go!
We don't know who invented the first skateboard, but skateboarding as we know it today evolved from surfers in Southern California in the 1950s. They built simple skateboards, basically just 2x4 planks with wheels, and skated when waves were flat to get the sensation of surfing. As surfing grew in popularity, so did skateboarding. Manufacturers picked up on this. In the early 60s, they started mass-producing boards and holding competitions. But there was a problem. The clay wheels wore down quickly and were so stiff, every time you hit a pebble, you went flying into the air. People got hurt, parents got up in arms, skateboarding started being banned, and almost died. Enter Frank Nasworthy, a teenage surfer and skater from Washington, D.C. One day, Frank was at a friend's house. The friend's dad made urethane wheels for roller skates. Frank thought, hey, this might work on my skateboard, and Frank gave them a try. The ride was unbelievably smooth, had better grip and control. Frank liked it so much that he grabbed his friends, ran to Toys R Us, and bought all the skateboards they could find. They spent the rest of the summer skating around DC and rocking their new wheels. Love of surfing later brought Frank to California. There, he saw that skateboarding was still going strong among surfers, but they all still rode on clay wheels. Frank realized others would want his urethane wheels. Cadillac Wheels was founded. Frank's seemingly small contribution was a catalyst that took skateboarding to new heights. And skateboarding never looked back. Today, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry with 11 million active skateboarders worldwide. Not bad. Let's continue our journey. I want you to meet MIT professor Eric von Hippel. Eric's research has helped the world understand why people innovate and what makes innovation more accessible for everyone. I first met Eric when I was a student at MIT. It was in his course that I first learned about user innovation. He He had been observing user innovation since he was a teenager. Eric's father was also an MIT professor, so Eric would spend a lot of time at the institute. As a young inventor, he liked picking his head into labs and asking questions. He discovered that engineers designed and built their own tools to solve novel problems. Manufacturers didn't even know that these problems existed, so the engineers had to create the tools themselves. That memory stuck with Eric, and he later dedicated his career to understanding and teaching user innovation.
Eric!
Hardeen, nice to see you again. Yeah, pleasure.
How was the class?
Well, it's the same one you took when you were here 4 years ago.
It demystified innovation for me.
Yeah,
and since that time, I've been on a bit of a journey investigating user innovation.
I could tell you were really interested.
Well, I just got back from the skate park.
And you're still alive.
My whole body hurts. It was fun. It was worth it. Great example of user innovation. But I do wonder, is this a rare example? Or is user innovation a widespread phenomenon?
Oh, man. User innovation is huge. I mean, think of the definition. User innovation is when you create something to use it. Now, we all have needs, right? I mean, you run across this need and that need, and if it's really a severe need, you'll do something about it. Anytime anybody runs into a big problem and there's no commercial solution, you're going to get user innovation.
So it's not limited to recreational activities such as skateboarding.
It's a huge phenomenon, and it's across every phase of life.
What examples of user innovations that a lot of people would know about?
Almost any innovation you could think of is user developed. I mean, from things like wheels on suitcases, that was a user innovation. When you look at the heart-lung machine, that's a user innovation. When you look at the World Wide Web,
wow,
that's a user innovation. They developed the stuff.
Completely new products.
Completely new products, like skateboarding was. Where the manufacturer would say, I didn't even know you wanted that. I didn't even know how to ask a marketing question about that. Oh my gosh, right? The reason that companies don't get involved more in innovation, a lot of it really is user innovation, is because they only want well-established big markets. And every market at the start
is uncertain
and small. Not established. That's right, exactly. So that's the story with skateboarding. In the beginning, I mean, the company would look at that and say, you know, those kids are crazy.
There's just some beach bumps.
Exactly, and there are only a few hundred of them, and who cares?
Yeah.
And then it grows to millions and millions and hundreds of millions of people, and all of a sudden they say, yeah, that's a good thing to do.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like user innovation is a great way to start companies.
It's a fabulous way. In fact, research has shown that 50% of the innovative companies founded are founded by user innovators. And when you think as a user innovator that you're just making something for yourself, you really misunderstand, because when we study the whole system, much of the commercial stuff in the world is developed by users like you, users who are professionals or amateurs in any category of activity. And it's fabulous if you and others can figure out how important this whole pattern is, then you can have opportunities to learn for yourself, innovate for yourself, and maybe start a company.
This is cool. This is cool. Well, now I want to continue my journey and look at user innovation through the eyes of an innovator.
That sounds fabulous.
Well, great to see you. See you soon again.
Good to see you.
Today, we meet Emily Lagasse and her friend and business partner, Fenway. Emily met Fenway while serving in the Peace Corps in the West African nation of Togo. Fenway was a happy and healthy puppy. But when Emily's service in the Peace Corps ended and the pair moved to the United States, something changed. Fenway started feeling sick. At first, Emily couldn't figure out what was wrong. But then she realized, in Togo, Fenway's diet was much different than it was in his new home. So Emily began cooking food for Fenway that he enjoyed. And Fedwell was born. Hey Fenway, how are you, buddy? Fellow immigrant, how are you doing in this new country of yours? Why don't we? Ask Emily. What is Fedwell?
Fedwell is a pet food based on home-cooked recipes made with real meat, fruits, and vegetables.
All right. How did it all come about?
Well, when Fenway and I came back to America, he got really sick here. Ooh. He wouldn't eat for days at a time. He became really lethargic. He wasn't interested in a lot of the things that he normally would like doing. And I just became really concerned. He just wasn't himself.
What was wrong?
Well, when I started thinking about how healthy he was in Togo and how sick he became here, I realized the biggest thing that had changed was his diet. And when I compared what he was eating here, I noticed that the ingredient labels, more than half of the ingredients were synthetic and food that I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't even consider it real food. He wasn't getting nutrients from real food ingredients, and I think that was leading to him being sick.
There are so many specialty pet stores, and natural is such a big trend. I'm surprised you couldn't find healthy food for Fenway.
Yeah, and you know, I thought all these foods that I was trying were healthy. I tried dry food, frozen food, dehydrated food. I went to different stores. I went to different vets. I asked a lot of different friends, and nothing I tried worked.
So what did you do?
Well, I was forced to solve the problem myself. And I created this product that I couldn't find anywhere else. And it started with all this research on dog nutrition and dog anatomy. And I took classes and I learned how to cook for him myself.
Wait, you took a class to learn to cook for Fenway?
Yeah.
Did he improve?
Immediately.
You serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
First of all, he was really excited about eating again. And that was something I hadn't seen in months. And when I started feeding him this diet of real nutrients, of real food, meat, fruits, and vegetables, he got his energy back and just became more of himself. He became that puppy that I had when I was living in West Africa.
I'm really glad for Fenway. I'm glad for you. But I wonder, why didn't you stop there? Fenway got better, problem solved. Why start a company?
Well, in one sense, it was a solution because he was healthy, but I was still spending a ton of time every weekend shopping and cooking and freezing portions for him. And that was really inconvenient for me. And so I realized that I needed to merge the healthy attributes of a home-cooked meal with the convenience of a dry food.
Interesting. And what next?
In that time, I also spoke to a lot of neighbors and friends and family and realized that I wasn't the only one who wasn't happy with what they were feeding. And when I started talking to pet stores, I realized that they had a lot of customers who were also looking for better products. And that's when I realized that there was just a really big opportunity to bring a home-cooked recipe to the market. And in order to bring that to them, I really had to partner with a manufacturer and form my own company to do it on a larger scale.
So essentially, let me understand, you discovered the importance of truly natural, healthy food. And at the same time, the importance of convenience, that matters too. And you put it all together, that's a Fedwell innovation.
Exactly.
Emily, what gives you the confidence that Fedwell will be successful?
Well, I think who better to start a company than someone who lived through those challenges firsthand and really understands what the problems are. I was able to work through a solution, and I really am my own customer.
I'm inspired, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you.
So, what did we learn here today? User innovation is huge. It happens because people discover unmet needs in their own lives. Others may have these needs as well. And because users understand their needs better than producers, they're in a great position to start innovative companies. But
It all starts with solving a problem you have.
so, what problem do you want to solve?